Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to the Jonathan Hassinger Show. I, of course, am your host, John Hassinger, for this Out of Theater reaction to The Creator, starring John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Jane Seymour. I meant to look it up 100 times during the movie, but I'm one of those people who, it's my instinct not to look at my phone during a movie in the theater. All right, so this movie takes place in like an alternate timeline. Like, it's not in the future, I don't think. I think it's like certain technologies progressed quicker. So like AI, we kind of like figured it out in the 70s. Oh, spoiler warning. I mean, I don't know. Other than, my quick thoughts, it's a fun ride. Feels like a 90s action movie, 90s sci-fi action where, they've got laser guns. But, like I said, it's not in the future. It's like, it's almost like it's the 80s or 90s. But, like I said, we figured out AI and our tech advanced a lot quicker. So, what we have now, they had in the 70s. And there's this mistake that happens with AI 10 years ago in America where it nukes Los Angeles. And 1 million people immediately incinerated. So they ban AI in America. But in China, they're still rolling. They don't care. They're head on, and it's like a society. Like in many places, they live together. There's even homeless child orphanages that are run by AI, and as you can imagine, they're 1 million times better than if humans were taking care of children. Oh, somebody just choked at the yellow arrow. Turning arrow. Sorry, I have such a sore throat that I didn't have all day, and now I have it. I had it during the entire movie. It was awesome. So anyway, America basically designs this giant floating Death Star. I mean, it doesn't look like, it's not like a ball, but it can just target anything and just nuke it or, missile it. And we find out that John David Washington and Gemma Chan's characters are spies for both sides. He's for America destroying AI. She's for, the Rebel Alliance. And because she was taken care of and raised primarily by AI, by, robots. And it was weird because they broke this movie up into 4 chapters. The Creator was just chapter 1. There was a prologue, then chapter 1, The Creator. Then the child, then the friend, then the mother. So I wonder if in other countries it's got different titles or has all the titles. So they end up getting separated. And there's word that there's an AI that was created by, the person who cracked the code. Created AI, or a relative of theirs. And this weapon can destroy America's, mobile nuker. And John David Washington's character kind of gets looped into it, but he's also trying to find his wife, because eventually they get separated. And they find the weapon, and he kind of at the same time realizes that it is the weapon, and it's also a way to find his wife, because it's a kid. And I think they never made a kid yet. Like, for some reason, in the AI world, it was all adults. And then eventually they made a kid, and the kid is this, like, weapon that can destroy, you know, the Death Star, the American Death Star. It was called Nomad in the movie, which is, I don't know. It's cool because in the beginning they give you, I love when movies give you a definition of just a word, because it's a word that they like throw around in the movie so much, and you're like, is that just a made up bullshit or is that something? And they kind of give you the history of this Narmada word, which is the god that AI worships, which I never even thought of. You know, I never considered that AI would eventually develop a god for themselves, which is weird because it's us. When they get separated initially, she's pregnant. You know, she's part of a group of the resistance. So they're attacking, like his people, and he's like, don't come, like, stop, call it off. They don't call it off. They drop a missile. It incinerates everyone around it, including him, but he makes it. And I just chalk it up to their AI, their tech, their medicine is so advanced that you can survive that in this alternate reality. Because it happens to him twice. But anyway, so he assumes she's dead, but then his kid's drawing her tattoo, and he's like, where'd you see that? Maybe she is still alive. Then the U.S. Army shows him footage of her. She's like, yo, this is... And he's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not here to save you or the AI. You know? You guys killed my wife, my unborn kid. So she's like, she shows a video. She's like, this is 2 days ago. She's alive. And I'm like, you know, one of those things where you're just like, all right, if I was him, I would want to believe anything. So I would take that as, yeah, she's alive. And midway through the movie, they do these funny things where they kind of like, you know, they world build. They like establish what's the norm on billboards. And it's like, donate your likeness today. So they can make a whole bunch of, you know, copies of you. So they look like a real person, you know, the AI people. I think they're called simulants. He calls them a little sim at some point. And then eventually names him Alfie because he like looks all around, like, you know, there's like a little thing on his tech area where it says Alpha Omega, which I think is the beginning and the end. So then he notices that there's a whole bunch of Mayas, of Gemma Chan, of his wife. You know, she donated her likeness, you know, to save AI, support AI, one of those kind of things. Donate your likeness to support AI. Like, I guess it takes more energy or more juice to create like an original face. I mean, that actually, now that I'm like thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, what would they even do? How would they, like, you can't just make a face. Oh, it's so strange. So anyway, he finds out his wife is this Narmada, this creator. She built the robot, the kid that can destroy the American Death Star, the Nomad. And the kid is a copy, an exact copy of their unborn child's DNA. So it's one of those moments where, you know, you're a 42-year-old father of 2 daughters that are under the age of 6. And John David Washington is bonding with this robot who looks like his dead child that he never even got to see. And they're being torn apart because, you know, movies, action movies. And yet again, another movie where I have cried in the theater. Cried during Barbie, which is the last movie I saw. Cried during The Creator. I mean, and this cry was just it was so subtle. Caught me by surprise, but not really, because whenever there's a kid in anything, it just destroys me. Like, there's a moment where the military, the American military, is like raiding this small Chinese town, New Asia town is what they're called. And they're like, we know there's like an entrance to a lab in here, like where is it? And they're like threatening the townspeople. And one of them's like this little girl who looks like an Asian version of my 3-year-old. And the agent is like threatening the girl's dog. Tell me where the door is. Like, how do we get in? And the girl was so sad, and I was like, if a person made my daughter like that afraid and that scared and that sad, I don't know. It would not be good. Overall, this was a fun movie to watch in the theater. I saw it in IMAX, and the sound. The dude who did the movie, I always forget his name. I reminded myself like 4 times during the movie. Gareth Edwards? I think he wrote and directed this. He did Rogue One, and there's something that I noticed about Rogue One that I noticed in this. Not only is the cinematography just amazing to see on location, he's barely any green screens, and the sounds. There's his use of silence, of just like, I just can hear my car, but his use of silence and sound, magnificent. Let me know if you saw it this weekend, if you plan to see it, and if you have no interest at all, let me know why. For daily trailer reactions and for whenever I can escape my house for 2 hours, out of theater reactions. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next week. I gotta go.